The sound of a 90-pound Bullmastiff knocking a toddler to the floor is unmistakable. Amanda heard it from the kitchen, that heavy, dull thud that makes every parent's blood stop. She dropped the dish towel and ran. Rex had Mason pinned. The toddler was flat on the carpet, face up. The dog's massive head lowered directly over the child's face. Mason was crying, not screaming, just that confused, frightened cry that meant something hurt, but nothing was broken yet. Rex, no! Amanda grabbed the dog's collar and pulled hard. Rex resisted. For the first time since they'd brought him home 3 years ago, he didn't obey immediately. His body was rigid. His eyes stayed locked on Mason. She pulled harder. The dog finally stepped back, but slowly, reluctantly. Mason sat up, tears streaming, reaching for Amanda. No visible injuries. No blood. Just scared. But that sound, that thud, that had been real. She scooped Mason up and carried the toddler to the couch, heart still racing. Rex stood exactly where she'd pulled him, staring at them both. His tail wasn't wagging. His ears were forward, alert, not guilty, not ashamed, just watching. When Chris got home that evening, Amanda was still shaken. She explained what happened. The sound. The way Rex had Mason on the floor. The way he wouldn't move when she called him. Chris knelt down and checked Mason carefully. No bruises. No bumps. The toddler was already playing again. Completely fine. But Amanda wasn't fine. "He's never done anything like that," Chris said. "I know. That's what scares me." Chris looked at Rex. The dog sat in the corner of the living room, eyes moving between Chris and Mason. Calm. Steady. Maybe it was an accident. Maybe Mason startled him. Amanda shook her head. It didn't feel like an accident. It felt deliberate. That night, they kept Rex in the laundry room while Mason slept. It felt wrong. He'd never been locked away before. But Amanda couldn't shake the image of that moment. The weight of the dog on top of their child. The next morning, it happened again. Amanda was changing Mason's diaper when Rex came into the nursery. He walked directly to the changing table and pressed his nose against Mason's face. Not sniffing, pressing. "Rex, back." He didn't move. She said it louder. "Rex, back. Now." Still nothing. She physically pushed him away. He took 2 steps back, then immediately moved forward again, nose going straight to Mason's mouth. Amanda's patience snapped. Out. Now. Rex finally left, but only after she raised her voice to a level that made Mason start crying. That afternoon, Amanda called the vet. The vet listened carefully, asked questions. How old was Rex? Had there been any other behavior changes, any aggression toward other people? No, just Mason. The vet was quiet for a moment, then said, "It might be stress. Sometimes dogs react unpredictably when there's a baby in the house, especially if they were used to being the center of attention." Amanda thanked her and hung up. By that evening, she'd made the decision. Rex couldn't stay. Chris didn't want to believe it. He'd raised Rex from a puppy, trained him, trusted him. But he'd also seen the fear in Amanda's face. He'd heard the description of that moment. The dog on top of their child, refusing to move. They agreed to call a rescue organization in the morning. That night, Rex slept in the garage. Amanda lay in bed, staring at the ceiling. She felt guilty. She felt scared. She felt like she was betraying a family member. But every time she closed her eyes, she saw Rex's head hovering over Mason's face, and her chest tightened. At 2:47 a.m., the baby monitor lit up. Mason was crying. Not the usual fussy cry. Something else. A strange, weak sound. Amanda sat up immediately and grabbed her phone. The video feed showed Mason in the crib, barely moving. She ran. Chris was right behind her. When they opened the nursery door, Rex was already inside. He'd somehow gotten out of the garage, somehow opened the nursery door, or it hadn't latched. He was standing on his back legs, front paws on the crib rail, nose pressed against Mason's face. "Rex, get back!" Chris grabbed the dog and pulled him away. Amanda reached into the crib and lifted Mason. The toddler's skin was pale, cold. The crying had stopped. "Something's wrong." They called 911. The paramedics arrived in 6 minutes. One of them took Mason from Amanda's arms, checked vitals, asked rapid-fire questions. "When did this start? Any fever? Any vomiting? Any known allergies?" The second paramedic noticed Rex. He was standing in the hallway completely still, eyes fixed on Mason. "Has the dog been acting strange?" Amanda nodded, barely able to speak. "Yes, for 2 days." The paramedic looked at Mason again, looked at Rex, then looked at Amanda. "We need to get to the hospital, now." At the ER, a doctor examined Mason thoroughly. Blood tests, monitoring, questions. Then she came back into the room with a printout and a very serious expression. "Your Emson's airway was partially blocked." Amanda's breath stopped. The doctor continued, her voice calm but firm. "Another 8 minutes and we would be having a very different conversation." She looked at both parents. "What made you bring Mim in tonight?" Amanda explained the crying, the monitor, the pale skin, the dog. Amanda looked at Chris. He looked back at her. "He wouldn't leave Mason alone," Amanda said quietly. "For 2 days. We thought he was being aggressive." The doctor's expression softened. "Dogs can detect breathing obstruction before we can. It's documented. The change in scent, in breath chemistry, they pick it up long before symptoms are visible to us." Amanda sat down. Rex knew. The doctor nodded. "He was trying to tell you." When they brought Mason home 3 days later, Rex was waiting by the door. Amanda knelt down and put her arms around his neck. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "I'm so sorry." Rex exhaled slowly, leaning into her. That night, Mason slept in the crib. Rex slept on the floor beside it. No one asked him to. He just did.